I learned you have to sell people what they want and you give them what they need. I coach a lot of like health coaches or weight loss coaches, and everybody's trying to get away from losing weight, or you know what I mean? We're trying to be like, live healthy. But I'm just like, at the end of the day, people are Googling, how do I lose 10 pounds? Like, you have to market, you have to give them what they want. Tell them, I'm going to teach you to lose 10 pounds. And then you give them all the mindset shifts. Marketing is like, what do people want? And you sell that to them, and then you can give them what they need.
Welcome back to another episode of The Art of Online Business. I'm here with my co-host, Jamie. Hello. And we're back with Brittni Schroeder. So if this is the first time you've heard of her on my podcast, let me fill you in because you're in for a treat this episode. She is a business coach and marketing strategist. She helps coaches automate their businesses, create systems, convert funnels, and scale to six figures and beyond. We know and like her because we just recorded the episode that you haven't listened to yet, where she shares a bit about her business journey up to this point. And let me tell you, she is a true business strategist, a true marketer. She cut her teeth in business on a photography business that she scaled up quite well in El Paso, Texas, with tons of clients charging way higher than market rate, and even like training and teaching. She had a magazine featuring, well, let's just call it a photography magazine. You might disagree with me because you actually had the magazine, Brittni. I was thinking like an Aeropostale like aesthetic. I'm really curious actually what the aesthetic was. Maybe you can tell us that later in the episode. But I want you to understand, listener, that she knows what she's doing, and she did it in a business first that was not teaching people what she's doing. I always love to have a guest that learned and practiced and used and profited and succeeded from a skill that they now teach, but they did it in a whole different line of work or business. And that's Brittni Schroeder in a nutshell. And I'm very happy to have you back on the podcast as we talk about marketing funnels. It's going to be like a mini coaching session because Jamie and I are doing our funnels right now, or redoing them. And we're excited to hear insight and strategy from you, Brittni. Thanks for being back on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
You're very, very welcome. So the context is that, well, do you want to ask us the questions, or should we just tell you?
You tell me what you want to know. What do you want to know?
So, I mean, you're here. You help folks build funnels, automations, systems, and email marketing. And we right now are building a funnel to sell our courses. The context is that most of my business revenue comes from Facebook ads management. And yet last fall, I created like a suite of courses, which I expanded to 5. And they're just there. People find them. The courses are great. When people find them and take them, they leave good reviews. Like, they get results. One helps folks cut their lead costs in half, and another one helps them set up that, I guess, the holy grail, a tripwire offer, such that when somebody goes to an opt-in for the free lead magnet thing, they see the offer on the thank you page. Some buy, some don't. And you can bring more qualified leads into your business and also get some more early wins for people inside of your funnel. So now we're deep into building out funnels that sell these courses. Either like a funnel off the back end of the lead magnet is one that we're building, and others that we're actually scheduled to start writing out this week are the upsell emails. Maybe you've heard of it called like the secret upsell menu, if you will. But basically somebody comes in, maybe they bought one offer, but they didn't take the order bump or the upsell, and then they get the onboarding sequence for that offer they purchased. And then followed up by that is a sequence of emails that's delivered logically to show them the order bump and see if they want to get that one, or the upsell, see if they want to get that. That's where we're at. And we'd love to know, like, what would you do? What would be the most effective way to go about selling the courses with email?
Well, let's start with foundation. And the foundation is it's a numbers game, and you have to grow your email list. So I think that there's different types of funnels, and they work in different ways. So I had somebody not too long ago on Instagram message me and like, do funnels work? Like, do they really work? Can you really sell in funnels? And I think it's tricky because, if you have like we're inundated with so much information now, in this. So, and they used to say if you have 7 exposures, people have 7 exposures before they purchase. Well, now it's like 30 or 40 because we get so much information like thrown at us all the time. And so, is it hard to sell it like to a cold audience? And a cold audience is somebody who is not familiar with you. It is harder. And so funnels sometimes is just getting people in your network, and then you have to nurture them, and it might take them a little while to purchase from you. So, we have this, like, "Oh, can build a funnel and we're gonna sell." You're not always gonna get the sell, and it depends on the offer too. So if you have something, say, for example, you're trying to sell something that's like a pocket product or a tripwire, like an offer maybe $50 or less. It's a little bit easier to sell in a funnel than say something that is like $5,000 that, it's almost, you'd have to spend a ton of money on like traffic, like ads, to get a sell for something that's like a high ticket like that. But the goal is, a lot of times, is you want to get them in your funnels, and you have to nurture them. Sometimes, a lot of times, you're not going to get people to go through 5 emails and then they're going to purchase at the end, unless it's something that they are specifically like looking for, like, oh my gosh, I need this right away. There's nothing else like that. So I think it's kind of complex because it doesn't necessarily always sell. For me, my objective with my lead magnets and my funnels is I want to get them in my network because I want to nurture them. I want to build that know, like, and trust factor. And sometimes it takes more than just 5 emails to build that. I will have people on my email list for years before they purchase something, but I'm nurturing them. Maybe they follow me on social media, they listen to my podcast. You have to build that know, like, and trust factor. It's a numbers game. It really is. I recently was talking to a client of mine, and she launched a digital course, and she made a ton of money. I think she made over 100 grand on launching this course. And so, but when we broke it down and we looked at her email list, she had a huge email list. Like, she had an email list of like 60,000. When we broke it down and we looked at what is, okay, you have 60,000 and how many people bought the course, guess what? Her percentage is the same as like another client of mine that has 10,000 people on their email list. And it's the same percentage of people who have 500. And so it really is like a numbers. It really is. They say when you are launching something, or, maybe you have like 30%, like maybe you're going to do a webinar. They say 30% of your email list will sign up, 5% of them will purchase. And so do the math. If you have an email list of 60,000, 10,000, or 500, you still, a lot of the time, you're still converting. If it's a good offer and it's a clean list, then you're still converting at the same rate. So it is a numbers game. And so sometimes your funnels is growth, like your strategy is growth, getting people in your network to sell. My most effective sales funnels is when I do live trainings. So I will say, sign up for my webinar, and they come to a webinar, I teach, and then I pitch at the end. Those are my highest converting funnels. You can do evergreen, meaning they're just always running. Maybe you're running ads to them. But for me, that is what has worked for me. It might be different for somebody else. But those have been my highest converting funnels, is because it's this live element, and I'm training and I'm calling them out, and I do that sense of urgency. Okay, by now you get this, blah, blah, blah. So I think it's different, and it depends on the industry that you're in and what your offer is and your audience. Like that, we kind of touched on this a little bit on our last podcast, but it's just like everybody is different, and you have to test what works. What works for me might not work for you. I like to be on social media. I'm comfortable on camera. I'm comfortable teaching. I'm comfortable going live, but that might not work as well for somebody else. They might be a really strong writer, and so they're getting traffic through SEO. Your funnels are different. You have to try different things, and what works for you. What are your strengths? What are things that you're really good at? So I don't know. I kind of went off on a tangent there, but
Well, I do like how you said live tends to work the best for you. And I was saying it makes sense because that's the quickest way to build trust, is when somebody can interact with you
Mm-hmm.
live. Like, I remember working with a person back, this might have been almost 3 years ago, and she had a huge social media following and wanted to do webinars, but like she kept pushing for the evergreen webinar, but she wouldn't own that was evergreen. So like she had like various softwares that she had found to make the evergreen webinar appear live. And I was like, don't go down this route. I'm telling you, like you're paying me to coach you. Don't try to make something that's recorded appear live. She's like, no, but I can just log in on my phone and respond to comments as I see them pop up on my phone, but I'm not actually there. It's a recording. I'm like, people can detect that. And then your trust is shot. Like, because they realize it's not live and you're trying to fake it. I was like, just own that it's a recording, make up some reasons like why it has to, or just share the reason why it needs to be a recording, and then say that you're there to respond to questions, but own it. And so anyway, that's my own little rant about people who take evergreen and try to make it appear live.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely tricky. Well, and I think there you again, you have to like evolve with times, and I feel like that people, like even growing your email list. I think of some of like the pioneers like Amy Porterfield and Jenna Kutcher, and they were doing like all these freebies. Now there's a million, everybody does freebies. And so people are like, "Oh, you just want my email address." Like, you know what I mean? And so you have to be like you have to roll with the punches. You have to be able to like change and try different things, and people are onto it. I always say the days of sign up for my newsletter list, those are long gone. People do not sign up for newsletter lists. You got to give them something. They want something, you know? So I think it's just you have to like know what's going on in the industry, know your audience well, like what do they need, and find that. So
So I'm curious what your thoughts are on something that we've done and are thinking about rolling out across uh, everywhere that the lead magnet is available. But the context is I did an affiliate, let's call it a bundle launch, if you will, where me and several other people that also serve the online course creator niche got together and we discounted some of like our lower ticket offers down from 27.37 down to $1, and it was a limited time week discount, and then we each promoted each other's offers in email. And then I thought, this went really well for me, by the way. And so I thought, you know, why don't I just take that and that mini course that I have? It's called the ad testing cheat code. It's very specific result. Like, this is the framework that I use to cut my lead costs as low as I can for clients. What if I just always had that as a lead magnet, but it was $1, and I just get rid of all free lead magnets and it's $1? Um, any thoughts? What are your thoughts on that?
no, I think you have to see what works, because I think that's in the same boat as like doing these online summits where you're cross marketing. And I think cross marketing is very effective. I've done similar things where I've done bundles with people, and I think it depends on who you're doing it with, honestly, because like I've done it with people and it's been really successful for me. And then I've done other times where I'm like, oh, I'm never doing that again. That was like so much work and I didn't get a return on it. So I think it just depends on who you're doing with. I personally, I've done an online summit where I hosted my first online summit last year, and it was a learning experience, and I learned that, like, man, people, like, don't promote the way that I'm promoting, and I need to vet them a little bit more. So I'm a huge believer in doing cross marketing and like, if the same ideal audience, but you're not in competition, if you can find those collaborations, they're golden. They're great growing your email list. So yes, I do think it depends on that's kind of a loaded question, but it depends on who you're doing it with. But I think, yes, it can be very effective.
Mhm.
Awesome. And what about like having a lead magnet for $1 versus just for free?
I mean, it's tricky because people are, well, $1 is not that much, so it probably would work. But I think people are getting to where they expect stuff for free. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's a tricky one. I don't know. I don't have experience with that. I have a library of lead magnets. I have a lot. Some work better than others, obviously. But I think that there's not a lot of resistance in $1, so it could sell. But also I think people think, "Oh, I can find that for free too." So I think it's tricky. It depends on what it is, I guess. You know what I mean?
In my mind,
Mhm.
then this is like what I'm kind of just really thinking on is I look at the open rates, right? And the open rates are decent for a free lead magnet. But then how many people are actually using a free something? For example, this the same thing, I had it for free. And because it was a mini course, I could see, you know, you never look at the progress of a course, right? But I could see like that so few of the people that had gotten it for free ever even watched any of like the 4 lessons. And they're like, good.
Well, you know what they say, if you don't pay, you don't pay attention.
Right. And so I'm
Yeah.
wondering, one, like on the brand level, am I, and it's very selfish play, but like, am I really helping my brand if there's not like people who are getting success from my lead magnet, and then out there like being like, oh yeah, I got QUÄY.jo's thing, and then two, like they're on the email list. If they didn't do the lead magnet that they needed help from, then like, how well are they actually going to respond to emails? Anyway, what's been your experience there?
My highest converting lead magnet is I have a course called How to Grow Your Group, Facebook group, and it's 50 free viral Facebook posts, and they're Canva templates. It's my highest, probably my highest converting, meaning highest converting to my email list. Yeah, and then I try to sell them on my group, and it does, there's a leak in my funnel because they're getting the freebie, but they're not buying the course. And the course is not really that expensive, and it's a great course. So I have a leak in that funnel, but it converts to email. So I am like, oh, it's my funnel. I have a tweak in my funnel, but I want people on my email list, and so I think it's tricky because like you want them on your email list. Again, I think it goes back to you have to nurture them and get them on your different platforms. Like I have people, so my funnel is a freebie, whatever my freebie may be. And then, so this is kind of the funnel strategy that I use is
Tell us
delivery.
about it. The high converting sales funnel guide, if you
Okay,
will.
so I'll tell you a
I'm
little.
linking that up in the show notes below, and I
Okay.
think it's really
So
cool.
it's you deliver the delivery of your freebie. Then the next email is I'm trying to think is your about me. And in this email, I really believe you have to include a picture because I want you to think about your behaviors. I sign up for there's one specifically, there's somebody that I signed up for something on, and I don't know what, a freebie. And I'm getting the emails and I cannot remember who this person is. I'm like, who is this person? What did I sign up for? Because there's no connection there. Like I haven't built the connection. I have no idea who it is. So we have to use visual. So I want them to build a connection to me. So I always include a picture if you feel comfortable, a picture of your family, because then there's that even more deeper like connection there. But I like to include a picture of myself on a majority of my emails because I want people to build the connection not just with like my content, but that visual connection too, so they know who I am. Oh yeah, yeah, I know who Brittni is. Blah blah blah. Like, so so then it's the about me, and then it's like I want to get them in my other networks. So I say, hey, join my Facebook group. Hey, here is my Instagram. Follow me here. So I want to get them in my other networks because even though I'm active on Instagram and my podcast, I still am on LinkedIn, Pinterest. I'm everywhere. I'm on Facebook. I just repurpose my content. And so I don't know where my audience could be at any of those places. I want them to follow me in all the places because I don't know where they spend their time, right? Then my next email is value, 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 value offer. So I'm giving them value. I'm positioning myself as an expert. I'm giving them like good resources. And the way to see if your funnel is working is you go to your analytics and you see what is your open rate, what is your click-through rate. Your open rate is highly dependent on your subject title. So if people are not opening your email, it could be one of two problems. It could be they're not your ideal client, but more often than not, it's you don't have a good subject line and it's not enticing enough. So you need to tweak that. That's your open rate. Your click-through rate is your call to action. What's your call to action? So your call to action can be like, hey, click here to follow me on Instagram. They're clicking on a link in your email. So is your click-through rate, is it enticing enough? Are they clicking on it? And those are things that you look at through your analytics is, are they opening my stuff? Are they, clicking my calls to action? And then when you go to that, if they aren't converting, then it could be the copy on your sales page or whatever you're offering. So understanding the analytics is really important to know, what's working and what's not. If people aren't clicking on your stuff, It's one of two problems. They're not your ideal client, or your copy isn't compelling enough. And you need to look at that. You need to look at those things. So, but again, I think that you have to nurture a little bit longer than normal. Like I said, once a quarter, I launch something that I already have, whether it's my membership, my program. I always do a live training because it's the highest converting. I have tried Evergreen before. Here's the thing with Evergreen that I believe, and because you're an ads specialist, it probably, you might have luck and it might be effective. You have to spend a lot of money on ads to, like, for Evergreen, and that's something that people a lot of times aren't transparent about. Is It's an investment, it's a numbers game, and you have to spend money on ads if you're going to do Evergreen. You have to constantly be promoting it in some shape, way, or form, and that's how Evergreen is effective. So
And it's a complicated equation. There's many variables in the evergreen, not to
Mhm.
mention one of the first things you told us on this episode was live works best for you. And live does build trust the best. As soon as you go to evergreen, it's like might as well cut your stats in half. And that's like the rosy scenario. So you have to be very on point with all the other variables in the equation and messaging. Jamie had a
Right.
question.
Yeah. Can you tell us what a good open rate is?
Like,
A
what are you
good
seeing?
click-through rate? Yeah. What are you seeing with?
yeah, so it depends on your industry. It's different across different industries. 30% is the minimum that you should be striving for, 30% open rate. And mine, like, I'm happy between 40 and 50. That I'm happy at that. And I talked a little bit about growing your email list and the difference between email list and social media. The average open rate is 30%. Okay, say for example, you have 10,000 people on your email list and your average open rate is 30%. That's 3,000 people are opening your email. Say you have 10,000 people on Instagram. Right now, it's less than 5% of people who are seeing your stuff. And so do the math here. I have an Instagram of 10,000 people. I can tell you right now, my email list has a way higher conversion rate than my social media. So that's why I'm always pushing, like, grow your email list, grow your email list. People are opening emails, they're seeing your name. Because of the algorithm, it's so unpredictable. You don't know what you're gonna get. So then your click-through rate should be around 5%. That means once they're in your email, are they clicking the call to action? So 5% is a good number to shoot for. So
Oh, back to the dollar thing, selling our offer, our course for that. I think our thought on that was that because it's cheap enough, right, that it gets people in because, oh, you think, oh, $1, it's not a big deal, right?
Hmm.
But then it's also kind of qualifying people that are willing to pay something. Hopefully, like you said, if you pay even a little bit, then you're more willing to put in the time and
To take
actually
action.
take action,
Yeah.
open the course, do the lessons, and then possibly get some of the other offers that are available. So that
yeah.
was kind of our thought on there as far as
I
it instead
and
of
I
the
and I
freebie.
agree, yeah, and I agree with that. I also think it's tricky because I've put things for cheaper sometimes, like, I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna try this for cheaper," and I think it gets tricky because it's like, are you also devaluing what you're offering too? You know what I mean? Like, sometimes that price point, maybe people are like, "Oh, it must not be that good if it's only this much." You know what I mean? So I think it's like marketing. You have to test and you have to see, like, what's working for you and what's not. And I told you that I did an online summit not too long ago, and I had great content in there, and I thought, "I'm not gonna do it for free. I'm gonna charge people." And I think it shot me in the foot, to be honest. Like, if I'm gonna do it again, now I'm not gonna do it that way. I'm gonna offer it for free at the beginning, and then there's gonna be a deadline, and then they have to pay after that, because I wanted more people to attend. And I think it's one of those things where people know that there's free stuff all the time. There's free online summits everywhere. Why would I pay? And so I think it just gets tricky, and you have to test. I tested, and I was charging, and I'm gonna do it again, and I'm not gonna charge. I'm gonna charge, but I'm gonna offer it for free for, like, 2 weeks, and then after that, I'm gonna charge. But I think it's one of those things where it's like, what is your goal? What is your objective? And that's what marketing is it is testing and failing, testing and failing, testing and failing, figuring out what works, what speaks to people. I had a course, not this was when I very first started, and it was an Instagram course, how to grow your Instagram. And I called it Convert was the name of it. Convert, how to convert your followers to clients. And I launched it and I was like, wow, this is such a good course. Why is it not selling? And so I I was I was so bummed out about it because I spent a lot of time on it. And then I decided, you know what? I'm not going to just like give up on this. So I decided I was going to rebrand it. And I changed the title to Grow Your Gram, how to grow your Instagram. I learned you have to sell people what they want and you give them what they need. It doesn't matter how big your Instagram is. It matters if you know how to sell on your Instagram. But I had to change my marketing. And that was a good example of testing where you have to sell them what they want and give them what they need. I coach a lot of like health coaches or weight loss coaches, and everybody's trying to get away from losing weight, or you know what I mean? We're trying to be like, live healthy. But I'm just like, at the end of the day, people are Googling, how do I lose 10 pounds? Like you have to market, you have to give them what they want, which is how to lose fight. Tell them, I'm going to teach you to lose 10 pounds. And then you give them all the mindset shifts and all of the things that, you know, so that is marketing, is like, what do people want? And you sell that to them, and then you can give them what they need, but you have to sell them what they want. And that's marketing, is testing and figuring that out.
No, but
How did you know
what
that?
you say is it's very very true. Like, yes, we've seen that from your story in the previous episode, but like also we've seen that with the various businesses that we've tried, the failures that we've had, and the successes that we have. Like you absolutely you speak the truth. You know what you're doing.
Okay, grow your email list, make email list a priority, and then just be consistent. Just, you know, like it's just show up, be committed to showing up, and just consistency, just trying all the things, testing, get good at failing. That's what I'd say. Get good at failing. The more you fail, the more you succeed.
Why does consistency and getting good at failing matter so much in success?
You have to just, you have to show up and you have to be present. And if you can't, you know, I had this experience with my daughter this weekend. My daughter is a wrestler, and she has worked so hard. And um, you know, she lost, you know, the first day, it was a 2-day tournament. She lost the first day. The second day she lost. She did good the first day, lost the second day. She was so in her head about losing. And I had to say to her, "Hun, it is not about perfection, it is about progression. And how you progress is through consistency." And so I think that that is just so important. Like if you want to progress, you have to, it's like anything, it's practice. And it doesn't just stop when, you know, it goes your whole entire life. If you want to get good at something, you have to practice, and consistency is how you do it.